Alright, so starting off here, we won't have a dash, so we're gonna see both of our runners bunny hopping as much as possible, saving some frames. I'm not gonna go over too many of the mechanics as much as possible. Gonna try to hit on as much execution as I can see, and should be an interesting race. The prologue is pretty easy. All it is going across this bridge and getting her dash. So chapter one is pretty simple. All we really have to worry about here is a block that will give us some momentum, some springs. Right here, a Moose doing a reverse hyper, giving us on shorter platforms the ability to dash it. Whoa, takes a death on the spikes there. Most of these rooms are dependent on where you are on the screen transition, so you're going to see our runners doing specific screen transitions to be ready for the next room. Crono getting the nice wall dash there. Good movement there by Moose. Crono coming up in the same room. See how he does. Almost for the wall climb instead of the wall bounce. Ooh, Crono taking a death right there. We're just getting done with chapter one. We're gonna go straight into chapter two for him. Additions to the mechanics here are dream blocks and an enemy that will be chasing us. Crono finishing up chapter one as well. Moose SR having to do that backup strat right there. Successfully. You can see Moose being very careful with his dashes coming out of these dream blocks. That's particularly because you're able to jump on a frame or a couple frames after you come out of them, maintaining some of your momentum. Very interesting strategy there by Moose going up instead of at a diagonal. So if you jump coming out of a dream block, you're able to maintain your momentum and horizontal movement direction, making it so you don't have to worry about dashing or hitting the floor on some block. Very, very quick movement here from Moose. Very impressive going through those battle-ins. Crono entering this fight doesn't get the corner right there. That's like he needs to. He's gonna take the safer route. He's swiftly out of the battle-in portion of chapter 2. Now he's waking up Madeline. No dream blocks will no longer be here. All he has to do is get to the end of this chapter, and he's gonna be moving swiftly on to chapter 3. Or no, having a bit of a trouble. Ooh, takes a fortunate death there at the end of the room. Through it. So Moose is done with chapter 2. Moving on to chapter 3. In my opinion, one of the harder chapters in this game. Pretty good movement starting out this chapter. The surface is pretty flat, so doing some hypers is pretty simple. Just knowing where you need to stop your hypers so you don't hit a wall on your next one is pretty important. Turning near, ooh, that's the end of that room. It's pretty costly. We're gonna see him working through one of his last rooms for battling. Opts for the bottom path on the right. It's very tricky, that final portion there. You either have to do it in such a fashion that you go between the battle-ins, or you go in the path that you just don't even see them at all. So you're gonna see him take a death right there at the end because he dropped too low, unfortunately. Sometimes the cost of going quickly is you're not just able to place your character properly at all times. We're gonna have to see him manage this again. Busasar getting through one of his first key portions here, going into the big mess. So Crono's out of that room, gonna make his way towards the end of chapter 2 as well. Big mess is very interesting to navigate in the beginning because you're not able to really make use of a lot of speed tech in there because of the rooms being so, the areas that you're able to do such speed tech is very narrow. So sometimes just dashing is more worth it. So the rooms that we're in chapter 3 for the big mess that are done in a specific order because it removes a portion of debris from the later portions of the big mess, as well as from the middle room, and it spits us back out in locations where Oshiro is going to be closest to us. Crono finishing chapter 2, moving to chapter 3. Not too far behind Moose here. Who's making some use of dash jumping there. Finishes his second of 3 portions of the big mess. Now he's gonna go meet up with Theo. Theo's gonna tell him, hey, this man's really mean. And Madeline's gonna be like, I wanna help him anyway. And Theo's just like, I'm out. Crono on his way to collect his first key, get it to go to the big mess. I would say he's about a minute and a half behind Moose. Both these players' movements throughout each chapter is pretty clean. Crono unfortunately having to take a couple deaths that Moose did not. And something interesting to note is that you could have more deaths than your opponent going into some stages, but if you're dying further away from the start in a room than your opponent is, you are losing more time since you're having to spawn further. You're spending more time on the room and spawning further away from your location where you died. Moose is I'm gonna see if Moose is gonna go for this quick strat. Very nice. It's pretty precise getting through there. If you take too long, you're gonna hit one of these dust balls. Taking a death at the end of this room. Ran out of stamina, so he hesitated there. Moose moving into his Oshiro fight. Oshiro's gonna be moving across our screen in some intervals, and we're gonna have to either hit him in the head or avoid him. So not only do you have to watch out for the dust to avoid that, but you also have to avoid Oshiro, and that can make some problems when you it'll give you just some inopportune cycles. But Moose's movement is very clean going into this fight, so you don't even see Oshiro going fully across the screen on some of these transitions. It looks like he's done with Chapter 3 as well. I don't know, having a bit of trouble on this room. Opting to attempt to hyper going across this room. If you jump too early going into a hyper, you don't get your second jump. So, unfortunately, we're seeing a little bit of that coming out on Crono. Muse starting his Chapter 4 here. Crono being about 2.5 minutes behind. See if he's going to be able to catch up here. So some of the new things that we're going to be seeing are green bubbles that will give us a short dash in a direction of our choice and refreshing our dash, and clouds that we are able to jump off of for more height than our normal jump. And you'll also see some wind on Moose's screen, pushing him either away or towards where he wants to go. It'll make it a little bit more difficult to do movement outside of his dashing. Oh, very nice spike jump there. Very good skipping of having to use that block on the left for Moose. Making very quick work with some of these rooms that are pretty difficult casually. Crono finishing up his first room here. Or first portion of the big mess. So now we're going to see a very heavy wind on Moose's screen. You can even see him trying to move forward without dashing, basically giving us 0 movement forward. So preserving your dashes is very important. So Crono getting done with the second portion of the big mess. Gonna meet up with Theo and move into his third. This dust ball is giving Cronos some love here and getting him some hugs we don't necessarily want. So the wind now for Moose is going to be very heavy, again giving us 0 movement. It gets in front of the block there, instead of taking the back portion, giving him less than a second of extra time there. Use of hypers in this room is very important. Even climbing up the wall of these heavy wind portions can be a little annoying because if you jump off the top of the wall, the wind is going to make us not be able to move forward, even though if we're moving forward. So you're going to either have to grab the wall and climb it, or be pretty lucky on how you jump off the wall. But no problem for Moose. He's going to finish up Chapter 4, move straight into Chapter 5. The Temple of Mirrors. Crono on one of his last rooms for before meeting Oshiro. We have a couple of skips here in the Mirror Temple that are pretty significant, this being one of them, saving about 30 seconds from having to enter a bubble, and for us being able to get this key very quickly. Who's doing it on his first try. Crono getting his key, hitting retry because it's a death warp, and then Void's just having to go back across that room. Very clean movement coming out of Moose here in the movement part of this temple. Ooh, Crono. We're just seeing some things that I've mentioned about Oshiro, the Oshiro fight that is very annoying, and that is Oshiro cycles, with including the dust balls. Very nice wave dash there on for Crono. Being able to get some momentum to avoid a portion of that last room and maintain his dash. So Moose about to get into the his mirror here, activating the Seekers. So I'm giving Crono a little bit of issue. This is one of those cycle-based rooms that can be pain, but he's through it. This room being another gets the head bounce on Oshiro. Very cool. Sometimes you just gotta hit him on the head. Having to wait for the cycle. Very smart, safe plays, but dies at the end of that room. Very harsh. Again, dying towards the end of rooms can be way more costly than taking a death early. So Seekers are able to activate some switches for Madeline, so we're going to be seeing Moose take some advantage of that, activating the middle switch and the top switch of those rooms. Getting the bounce off the Seeker, activating that switch on the explosion. Very good stuff. He's going to wait there to activate the top switch, getting both switches on the bottom, and being able to simply avoid that Seeker. Entering the final and most difficult room, in my opinion, for Oshiro. Moose approaching search skip, the biggest skip of the game. Reverse hyper into a air dash. Gets it first try. Very impressive. Crono finishing his chapter 3, moving into chapter 4. Let's see, Moose bait the Seeker here to get the switch. Getting to Theo. So Theo, while we're holding Theo, we won't be able to dash. And we're able to throw him to activate switches and be able to dash. So we're going to see our runners manage Theo to be able to avoid some Seekers, jump over some pits, activate some buttons. Some really good momentum there by Moose. His management of Theo is pretty impressive. It's not easy to throw, catch, and maintain momentum with Theo all at once. It does take lots of practice. easily gets that switch instead of just going under. Now he's gonna avoid some waves here. Get in the eye, ending chapter 5, going in chapter 6, reflection. Crono trying to get to the end of this portion. You're gonna see him try to do a screen transition from an air dash, giving us momentum to get up to this ledge. Trying to grab the opposite side of the wall just to climb up it, but not being able to do it. Opts to go the safe route. Very good idea. If you can't get some of these tricks sometimes it's just better to move on, practice it later. Because the more time you spend there, just the further your opponent is able to get ahead of you. So we're gonna see Moose get some of these feathers here. Usually runners will opt to use a directional pad while controlling Madeline, because analog stick sometimes is finicky with the direction that we're dashing. So when we're in the feather state, we're gonna see runners transition to analog stick because it gives us greater control over the feather. Seeing the Kevin blocks be used here for some momentum, some boosts here on Moose's side. Crono's making his way through part 2 of chapter 4, making good time in this room. Very good use there, of the bumper by Moose. Oh, just now they're just giving him some trouble, able to get past him. Very smart thinking on the fly there, using the bumper to get back safely to where he needs to be in order to get the feather again. We're seeing on Crono's screen one of the tougher wind stages. Timing is pretty important in this level for the wind because it stops at, I would call it irregular intervals. If you're not timing it correctly, you will just, heavy wind is going to push you and when you're not ready and you're just going to take a death. Who's going to start chasing some shadows here, getting to battling. Gets all 3 hole in the crystal skips. Very careful dashing in through that water towards the end there. Be tricky at those angles. Battling boost, very smooth. So the Battling fight is pretty interesting. Battling having 2 attacks, the orb attack and the laser. Laser requires to be charged. Orbs just come out in intervals. All we have to do is hit Battling once. She will retreat, and that will allow us to move forward. You're unable to move past Battling while she is on screen with shadows covering the next portion where we need to go. Crono finishing chapter 4, going to chapter 5. The battle and fight goes on longer. Ooh, the runes. I was just gonna say the runes are gonna get longer, so the longer the rune, of course, the harsher the death. Luckily, Moose has a bit of a lead over his opponent, so shouldn't be as worried. But if you do take too many, you can find yourself easily just getting your time eaten away. Uses some wall jumps here, allowing us to regain control of Madeline. Getting his first key, gonna make his way into the deeper into the temple. So now, in addition to the attacks of Madeline, we're gonna be seeing the movement of blocks in some of these stages. And these stages are going to get more and more long. We're approaching one of the last rooms on his chapter 6. Good movement, not even getting that bumper. Alright, so he is finished with his battle and fight, getting his level up and his second dash. Oh, Crono misinputting the direction of that bubble there. That's pretty costly. He was just at the end of that room too. Moose now finishing chapter 6 right there. Going into chapter 7, the summit climb. Reintroducing mechanics that we've seen earlier in earlier stages into his stages, starting with chapter 6, then moving through chapter 1 through 5 again. So movement is pretty important here with all stages, but I would say chapter 7 in particular. Not only do you get the extra dash, you have to go through the mechanics again of each stage, so sometimes you're just able to skip them just like that. With the second dash. So movement is very important, not only for skipping portions of that were intended by developers, but making some of these levels just simpler than they need to be. Crono in his Seeker portion. So we're gonna see if he does the same stuff that we've seen from Moose, getting some activations of switches by the Seekers. Missing the first one, fortunately. Let's see if he can get the second one. Opts to not go for it. Ooh, taking in harsh death there. Moose making his way through chapter 1's mechanics here of Summit. I'll skip that block boost there to end that chapter 1 portion. Going into chapter 2, we're going to see some dream blocks again. My favorite mechanic in this game, for sure. Makes your movement feel really clean. Ooh. Oh, misuses his dash there for extra speed. Doesn't have a dash to get through that dream block. That happens. It's unfortunate when it does, you just feel kind of silly. Crono coming up here on his search skip. See how he does his. Who's getting his jumps out of those dream blocks, maintaining some of his horizontal momentum. Very clean. And they're getting his search skip very first try. Who's moving on to the chapter 3 portion of the summit here. Also one of the harder portions of the summit. Same with chapter 3, we're going to see these dust balls making our lives miserable. Not for Moose though, he's breezing through here. Ooh, almost gets hit by it, but cleans it up. Crono getting to his Theo portion of chapter 5, see how he manages his momentum in carrying Theo. Seems to be doing some pretty clean movement. Oh, that's pretty unlucky with Theo getting stuck behind the door there. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's not fair. I'm just handling these cycles of these dust balls. Very good. And so we're entering the 2,000 meter here, chapter 4. Wow, I've not seen that skip before. Very impressive. We're gonna see some movement optimizations here from Moose. We just opting to go for this skip here. Gets the spike jump very clean. So now we're going to see Wind propelling Moose in the direction he wants to go, making some of these rooms just flow really quickly. We're now coming up on the end of his Theo portion of this level. Secret knocking Theo out of his hands. Ending his chapter 4 portion here, going 2,500 meters. Chapter 5, so we're gonna see the red bubbles again, and they're gonna make pretty quick use of the bubbles. If he opts to go for the illustrious door skip here, coming up. First, we have to see key skip, third try. We're gonna finish with his chapter 5 going into chapter 6 of reflection. Good skip there by Moose. Going for door skip. It's first one. Gets the second one. Very nice first try. Door skip obviously saving hours in this run. It's very important that we get this. Good use of hyper there, skipping that block jump. And he is on to his 30 flag climb of the summit now. So he has to only hit 30 more flags and he will be done with his run. So 30 flags portion, we have really the combination of mechanics here. Worry about some just won't make their return, but we will see a big uses of feathers and feathers and double jump double jump recovers and springs. Opting to skip this flag here, having some trouble, gets through. Oh, now he has to go back from where he skipped the flag to. Good thing it's not too far away. It's it again. He's gonna get the safety. No. Okay, he's through it now. And quick work of some of these flags here. Crono almost getting squished there, having to retry. Can't let the Kevin block go by there. There we go. Oh, he's through that room. Who's just destroying some of these flags here on flag 14 now. Good movement there by Crono getting through that room using the momentum from his previous screen transition. You're gonna have to doesn't go for that bumper there. Get his dash back. No stamina again, but gets to the very top. He's going to his next couple of flags here. I believe that's flag 6. And we're at flag 5 now. Does get skip flag 5 because it's screen transition. He'll just respawn there anyway, so nothing lost or anything there. On flag 3. Ooh, that's the top there. Not easy getting past that portion. You can see him stopping there to grab the wall because the feather is able to get you past the part that you need to if you're fast enough. So he opts to grab the wall to make sure that he doesn't go past it. On his last flag now. Right, and GG for Moose with a time of 35 flat 6,500 100 milliseconds or 65 milliseconds. And GG to him. So Crono going through his chapter 6, about to come up on battle in here. Moose, if you were listening to the stream and you'd like to do an interview, you're welcome to join me anytime you are ready. Hey, Crono having to take a backup there, but very good keeping his cool to get past that portion. Fortunately, doesn't survive much past that. And Moose is here for his interview. GG Moose.
Hello, thank you.
How do you feel about that run?
kind of mixed feelings about it, honestly. It started off really good with a gold split on Research. I was 25 seconds ahead out of Ridge, and then
Wow.
Temple happened.
Yeah, Temple did not seem very nice to you today.
No, I had a few rooms that just messed up my flow, basically.
Yeah.
And then
So
I lost
Crono
another
is
like
almost on his battling right here, so
right, yeah, cool.
overall very good race between you guys. You other than your gold split, do you have any other rooms that you felt very comfortable with?
I mean, not really. It was an average run for the most part. So I lost like 30 seconds in Summit as well. So I'm still happy with it. Anything close to 35 or lower, I'm really happy with, honestly.
That's good. Crono on his battle and fight now. We're gonna see the same thing, hopefully the same movement coming out that we've seen from Moose before. So when's your next race gonna be?
That's a good question. Check. It's on Monday, 4 PM EDT. Versus Tadimos, I think. That's gonna be my last race in the group stages.
Okay. What's your current record?
I'm 3-1, excluding this one. So far.
Okay.
And one person in my group also dropped out.
Ah.
Unless he gets replaced, I guess that's a free win.
Right. I've seen some discussion going on in the tournament chat. I don't know how they're gonna exactly handle some dropouts.
I don't see much about it. I know people have been like put on a waiting list and so on.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how they deal with that. But it's getting fairly late over here, so I think I'm gonna head off.
Okay. Do you have any last comments that you want to give to our viewers?
Thanks for watching as always. Thank you for commentating.
Not a problem. My pleasure.
It's been an amazing tournament so far. Just seeing how the community is like growing and just opening up. Really fun.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you any later than you want to. So have a good evening.
You too. See ya.
So, Crono making his way swiftly through the battle and fight here. Only a couple more rooms to go, I believe. And so he's about to start his second half here. Ooh, very lucky there, getting not only a dash, but the jump off block. Avoiding that orb. Ouch. Need that there. So while I have the moment here, make sure that anybody watching follows both of our runners for putting on a showing here for you guys. It's not easy coming on stream for a lot of people to watch, so make sure you give them a follow. Appreciate them giving us the opportunity to watch some of this action. Also, follow the speed gaming channels. They have speedrunning events going on all the time, and we appreciate them for letting us put on the Celeste tournament here on their channels. Crono done with his battle and fight, leveling up, and about to move on to the summit. Ooh, hitting retry there. It happens. The developers put the skip cutscene and retry buttons on the same spot, so hitting retry can happen from time to time. Chapter 6 is now done. We are going to be moving into Chapter 7 for Crono. Music from Chapter 7 is probably my favorite music in the game. Just gets you really pumped for what's to come, honestly. The entire soundtrack for this game is very nice. Shoutouts to the developing team and the artist who makes them. Crono getting into his summit now, doing Chapter 6's mechanics. So for every time we progress 500 meters in the climb here, we're going to be jumping off of battle, and those screens are relatively long, so deaths can add up. Also, most of the rooms here in the summit are pretty long. I'm missing the switch there. Trying to go for the backup. Wrong side of the block there. And gets to that room. Last room of the 500 meter portion here. It's fortunate there. Tries to go for a bounce to skip block here. Thousand meters, chapter 2. layout of that previous room is similar to one of the first ones that we see in the battle and fight in Chapter 2. Very interesting because they changed that room so that it requires you to not touch the ground there, unlike Chapter 2 where you have the battle following you around. Those blocks there. Done with that section very quickly, moving to 1500 meters now. Trying to hyper right there to get underneath that wall climb there. This room, the dust can be pretty unforgiving at the speed that they're going at. You can abuse some of their cycles sometimes, and sometimes they just get you into nowhere. This room that Crono is currently in is heavily cycle based, and these dust balls can be very mean. Sometimes just waiting here for their cycles is the easier way to deal with that room. So, here finishing up is 1500 meters going to 2000 meters. The wind here is very strong, so movement forward just takes forever without dashing. Hyper there. And Crono is through that room. Block is pretty high. He was able to get it down. He is. Good first rune attempt there at that rune. Avoids the strawberry. That room very cleanly, only having to take one death. To use the dash there. Okay. Portion of for the battle and ending here for 2,000 meters is pretty obnoxious because this wind will start and go at different intervals, really throwing you off. You're not ready for it. Finishes this up, going to 2,500 meters. Interesting that he chooses to maintain his dash going in there to that spot. You really only need the one dash. Okay, good recovery there by Crono. Good recovery there as well. Getting through the door portion. Finishing up chapter, or not chapter, 2,500 meters here. Basically chapter 6, or chapter 5, sorry. Oh, and does recover that using that bubble. Pretty scary there. Great, 30 flags left, and Crono finished his run. You're just getting through some of these flags pretty quickly. Heading up to his screen transition, having a bit of difficulty here. Ouch. Yeah, this downward wind just pushing him from getting that uh, replenisher for his dash, so he'll get through it. Gets off to his screen transition onto like 19. Now we have upward wind, making us way floatier. It's the corner right there on that ledge, very nice. Flag 15, yeah. Flag is a pain in the butt, casually. Gets through it. Opting to hit the retry there to take the death earlier, knowing that he was out of dashes. Flag 10. Almost done here. We're needing an extra dash there. There we go. Get through it on a flag 9. Flag number 6. Overall, his summit climb has been very clean. Going on his flag 5 here. Flag 2. Almost here on the home stretch. And the last flag is a bit of a relief. Not too difficult, and feels really nice to be on at the end of a run. And we are done for Crono with a time of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 1 second. GG to Crono. We are inviting him in here for the interview if he would like to. Crono, if you were in there and you'd like to interview, please join me in the speed gaming lobby here. If you guys enjoyed this race, be sure to give both of our runners a follow. They would appreciate it, and they did put on a good performance here for us. And, if you enjoyed the commentary, also feel free to drop me a follow. So while we are seeing if Crono wants to come in for an interview, a couple things is going on the speed gaming channels. A bunch of things actually. We're gonna see Chrono Trigger going on currently on Speed Gaming 4, A Link to the Past, interactive race going on the Speed Gaming main channel, Nier Automata on Speed Gaming 3, another Celeste race for this tournament going on Speed Gaming 3, and Super Metroid on 2. So plenty of speed gaming action here. Gonna get Chrono in here. Chrono, welcome. GG, my friend. Sounds like he's getting his microphone set up.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hey, I was like, GG.
So how do you feel about that race or the race you run?
I was so tilted. It's all good.
What tilted you the most on that?
Oh, just just messing up easy stuff and then like trying to do the casual way and still messing that up.
Right. That can be pretty tilting. So missing PB by a couple seconds? Is that true?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so overall how do you feel about your run?
Not the best, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Like I don't really have that much time to run the game, so just kind of having fun with it.
It's understandable. It was a pleasure commentating both of you guys. Being able to see how each runner is doing everything is very cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just like practiced like for 15 minutes and like I haven't really played. So
okay.
yeah, it's been rough, but I'll probably practice a little more.
How are you?
Have another runner tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Do you know what time tomorrow?
I actually don't know.
No, check here. Looks like your race is against Scrub Lord at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, okay.
That should be cool to watch. Any final closing comments you want for our viewers?
No, thanks for stopping on by. I know it was a blowout, but thanks for hanging.
Man, it's cool to commentate these races. I'm pretty new to the community as well, so being able to see everybody's general skill level, where they're coming from, all the new people is very cool.
Right.
So I guess with that, we are gonna close out this race. Thank you everybody for joining us on Speed Gaming for this race, and if you have not already, again, please follow our runners. And that'll do it. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.